Days had passed since the argument between Boko and his driver. Sir Topham had hoped they'd gotten along better, but it was no use. The driver soon became proud and stubborn once again, and didn't want to listen to Boko, even if he was making mistakes. The engine was still embarrassed about the situation, but the other engines thought it was a great joke.
Why didn't you watch which way you were going? You should know the lines.
Perhaps his new driver had to ride back to front.
Will you two shut up? I would like to see how you two handle new drivers, but considering how you handle cows, I can imagine.
The engines quickly grew silent. But despite Edward's support, Boko felt worse. The next day he was working in the yard. He hoped things would have been more bearable. After all, the trucks didn't play tricks on Boko, and even Diesel didn't say a word about the matter. Boko had shunted a line of trucks to move to the other side of the yard. When he had coupled up, he was ready to go.
All right, all set to go.
The driver pulled the lever, but they weren't moving.
Driver, did you release the brakes?
Of course I did.
His wheels spun and spun on the rails, making a horrendous noise. That's when he suddenly realized
It's the trucks!
the trucks had let their brakes on and began to cackle and yell.
Wrong way, driver! Wrong way!
Suddenly, Diesel ran up from behind and gave the trucks a biff.
Cut it out, you dirty trucks!
Surprisingly, the truck's brakes didn't jam, and this biff was enough to convince them to stop their tomfoolery. Boko was quite surprised.
Thank you, Diesel.
Don't mention it. Everyone's better off minding their own business. I don't even know how those trucks knew what happened to you.
Diesel then rolled away. Duck had seen everything, puffing up to Boko with a wide-open jaw.
I have never seen him like this.
The two engines shared a look of confusion before going on their way. One evening, Boko waited for Sir Topham Hatt at tip of the sheds. When he did arrive, no one was there.
Excuse me, sir, but I wanted to talk to you.
Yes, Boko?
It's just my new driver, sir. He still hasn't changed that much. I honestly don't feel like continuing working with him. I don't mind another driver, but just not this one.
I know, Boko. I can see that this is hard for you, but I decided to give him a second chance, since, relatively speaking, he is new to this, and I think you should give him a second chance as well.
I will try, sir.
I really appreciate it, Boko. Oh, and another thing. James is at the works and won't be able to pull his passenger train tomorrow. Will you do it for him?
Yes, sir.
That's a good engine. See you soon, Boko.
With that, the Fat Controller left the yard, leaving Boko unsure. The next day, Boko backed onto the coaches at the platform, ready to be entered by the passengers. As they gathered in the station, Boko could not believe what he was hearing. Even the passengers were talking and tattling about his driver. The man heard the noise too, and leaned out of the cab to look. All the passengers suddenly turned towards the driver and stared at him. The driver felt so embarrassed that he immediately went back into the cab.
Oh dear, it was indeed too much. I must have been so foolish without even realizing. I'm sorry, Boko. I'll promise I'll listen from now on.
It's alright, driver. Let's just hope this situation loosens up.
The conversation was cut short by the guard's whistle. The driver took care to not bump the coaches when starting, and tried his best to give the passengers a smooth ride. Things went smoothly at first. But after they passed Crosby, Boko noticed something white on the line.
What is that? Oh! Brakes, driver! Brakes!
The driver promptly applied the brakes. The coaches bumped against each other, the wheels screeching, until the train came to a complete halt.
It's a goat!
Oh, that was close.
A goat had jumped over a stone wall and was wandering on the line. But the sound of the train scared it right back to its field. Before the engine could start again, a crowd of angry passengers stormed out of the coaches, protesting against the driver.
This is outrageous!
He should be fired!
Now we're gonna be late!
Suddenly a loud whistle silenced the air. It was the guard.
Everyone, I would like to remind you that this is a railway. The sole reason you got jolted in those coaches was to avoid an accident. It was the only thing the driver could have done to prevent it, so I advise you all to step back inside so we can make up for lost time.
When all was settled, Boko went on his way again. The new driver was glad the guard stood up for him. And Boko was glad his driver listened. The driver kept his promise so far. And perhaps he made the right choice of giving the man a second chance. Maybe the driver isn't so bad at all. What do you think?
But here's a little cheer, and a lot of people like it. It goes like this.
Rat shit, bat shit, dirty old twat. 69 assholes